Wir sind hier in der letzten Folge Cabernet. Sehr schade, dass das Spiel schon vorbei ist. Aber wir machen heute noch eine Folge. Wir haben 1999, über 100 Jahre nach den Ereignissen, nachdem Lisa als Vampir aufgewacht ist. Und wir schauen uns an, was so alles passiert ist. Also da wird jetzt, glaube ich, erzählt. Ihn hatten wir in der letzten Folge schon. Und wir schauen bei den anderen noch nach.
The Countess, predictably, kept adjusting with the times and growing her fortune. After the Cabernet producing facility at the town hall was destroyed, she took a loss and had to pivot. However, when the doctor terminated their contract, she never ended up finding a decent replacement. It didn't take her too long to bounce back, though. More partners came forward soon enough, and eventually other business opportunities presented themselves. Some say the Countess is now running one of the biggest mafia networks in the country. It's only rumor, of course, but in all honesty, I would certainly not put something like that past her.
Dann Victoria.
Victoria still works for the Countess. Say what you want about her, but she's a loyal one. It clearly didn't go unnoticed by Countess Orlova, and, albeit unofficially, Victoria is widely considered to be her number two. They say she leads the departments that are heavy on the dirty work, since the Countess trusts her. Rumors, of course, but rings true, doesn't it? What can I say? There's never a dull night with Elisa. There aren't many who have the privilege of being friends with this mysterious creature, so I'm proud to be one of the lucky ones. How many vampires can say that they've seen the sunrise after being turned? I am yet to meet another but her. Only her unique blend of intelligence, passion, and a touch of madness could achieve such results. Her technique, however, brought about much more than just her famous sunrise paintings, which I must say are a huge hit among the vampiric community. I often use a version of it in my clinic for both vampire and human anesthetic purposes, and have helped introduce this practice throughout the vampiric medical community. When her vampiric visa in town expired, sadly, Elisa had to abandon her hookah bar. Such is the fate of most vampiric enterprises. However, people remembered it fondly years after its closure and told stories of legendary nights spent there. The tales grew with embellishments until no one knew what was true, like any good story eventually does. There were vampires who attempted to recreate Elisa's success by building their own such establishments, but no one was able to quite capture her same type of magic. Still, wherever she goes, she manages to start a new venture and turn it into something special. To selfishly put this all aside for a moment, I'm just so incredibly happy we're together. Who knew that I would fall for someone like her? But then again, there really isn't anyone quite like her, is there? While I still lived in town, Arbin stayed here for as long as her vampiric visa allowed. We had our fair share of adventures together, and to this day remain close friends. When she finally left, for a while she tried to maintain her establishment from afar. But alas, literary salons went out of fashion, and eventually they built a regular housing project in its place. Arbin overcame her internal struggles about siring and ended up taking several fledglings under her wing. Unsurprisingly, each and every one of them is well and thriving. She often credits me for that, but really, she's always cared for the newly turned. just like the moment I first met her. Arbin eventually moved abroad, but still sends me a case of delicious red every year.
Okay, dann was haben wir
What do you know? The store is still here.
If you're looking for champagne, vodka or flowers, don't bother. They're all out.
Is that right?
Well, why else do you think I'm still open? All the demand and no other supply. That's good business.
Happy New Year's Eve.
Blumen kaufen?
The bouquet over there, please.
Die roten. Blumen, mit denen die Toten auf dem Friedhof geehrt werden können.
Cutting it a bit late with the presents, aren't you? You'd better hurry home, or you'll miss the president's speech.
Nichts für mich, danke.
Thanks, but I don't think I'll be watching this year. Not my cup of tea.
What? Why not? Don't you care about your own country? See, that's the problem with your generation. You hold nothing sacred.
Oh, really? And what generation do you think that is?
Generation of spoiled brats. You've seen nothing, done nothing, and fought for nothing. You have all the freedom in the world, but no, you just complain and demand more. Show some respect and be grateful for once.
Are you finished? Listen, I'm not who you think I am, but I don't expect you to understand that. Mark my words, I've seen this happen to our country time and time again. At this point, I feel it in my bones, like how some with arthritis can feel rain coming.
What are you babbling about, girl?
Every time there was hope, a person like that man came to crush it. No one has found a way to break the cycle yet, so, of course, I've come to not expect much. All I'm asking is, think. Think and care about your fellow man. Then, make your own choices.
How much have you had to drink?
Noch gar nichts.
Enough for a lifetime. Trust me. Happy upcoming New Year.
Ich schlaf nicht.
It's moments like these that I regret making fun of the hussar for smoking.
Are you all right, dear? Hope you don't mind me asking. You look out of sorts.
Yes. Yes, I am. Thank you.
Do you have a place to go tonight? It's New Year's Eve, after all. No good being by yourself.
Thank you. I do have some old friends I'm visiting.
Oh, that's lovely. Just lovely. You know, I overheard what you were saying back there.
Zu weit gegangen?
Did I get carried away?
Goodness, no. I would have said the exact same thing. I was just like you when I was younger. Didn't let anyone walk over me.
I'm not as young as I look.
Let's talk again in 50 years, dear. See who's right about this.
Sounds good.
That Chernov, though, he's trouble, isn't he?
Yeah.
Just as we managed to turn this rusty ship around, they're pulling the wheel again. Still, all this time, I never lost hope. Not once. And you shouldn't either, dear.
Thank you. I think I needed to hear that today. You know, you remind me of an old friend of mine.
Faina.
Friends, of course. Sorry for keeping you, dear. Your friends are probably wondering where you are.
Don't worry. They're quite a patient bunch nowadays.
Brauchen Sie Hilfe?
Do you need any help carrying your bag?
Oh, no, bless you, dear. I live just around the corner.
Really? In the old apartment building?
That's the one. My great-aunt used to own it before the revolution, and I inherited it. I'm very lucky.
Also doch Faina.
It's apartment number 1. Stop by for a cup of tea sometime if you feel lonely. Have a wonderful year, dear.
Thank you. And you. Well, what do you know?
So, ich würde jetzt gerne... Die haben wir. Der Doktor.
Dr. Volkov's story is not a happy one. Like so many talented people, he fell victim to his own work. His research left him fully addicted to blood. Every month he got worse and worse, until he truly was a shadow of his former self. One day he just seemed to vanish. No warning, no note. There's no way to know for sure, but I'm worried that, despite all his fears, the doctor turned feral. There are few fates worse for a vampire. He didn't deserve an end like that.
Okay. Die Musikschule.
Not long after our chat on the roof, Anastasia finally managed to finish her cello piece. The Girl in the Wine Dress, she called it. I think I know who might have served as inspiration. The song was a breakout success, but it was only the beginning. Soon enough, she was one of the most renowned composers in the country. Anastasia lived a long and fulfilling life, and on top of all that, she never forgot her students. With her newly earned fortune, she rebuilt her music school, which is now one of the most prestigious establishments in Eastern Europe. It's also famous for its funding program for low-income students, allowing thousands of talented musicians to find their calling. To this day, her work is still studied and played all around the world, inspiring people decades after her passing. To many people's surprise, Anastasia and Evgeny managed to fix their marital problems. After the miraculous outcome of the duel, Evgeny got himself together and quit drinking once and for all. Seems that the key to their happiness was in mixing up the traditional roles. I enjoyed many a dinner with the two of them and their adorable children, and I must say, Evgeny was a much better cook than Anastasia ever was. Furthermore, they managed to find true artistic harmony, using their combined talents to create something beautiful. Not even a year after the events of that fateful summer, they finished an opera with Anastasia's music and Evgeny's lyrics. It was a great triumph, and nowadays, rightfully considered a classic. They both enjoyed many individual successes in poetry and music, and lived in the same place their whole lives. Anastasia told me that after having children, the house never seemed empty to her again. She did, however, insist on redecorating it entirely. Of course, with the exception of the garden, which was perfect from the very start. To many people's surprise, after the miraculous
Okay, das haben wir schon gehört.
Not even, it was they both enjoyed. Anastasia, she did.
Und die Bar?
Kirill, it's been a while since I thought about you. For as long as I stayed in town, nothing really seemed to change in his life. All the same tricks and schemes. And after that, needless to say, we didn't keep in touch. Call me naive, but I always felt there was more to him than met the eye. Perhaps I would have learned more if I got to know him better, but Of course, it's a little late for that now.
Können wir noch... Wir können hier leider nicht mehr dahin, wo wir vorher waren. Ich weiß es nicht. Kirche? Können wir nicht hin. Können wir irgendwo landen? Hier ist nirgends was. Da ist auch nirgends was. Jetzt bin ich gerade am Überlegen. Hier oben drauf können wir... Doch, hier können wir auch landen. Stefan.
On the surface, nothing seemed to change all that much in Stefan's life. At least for a while. Same old cards, drinks, and revelry. And, of course, intrigue seemed to follow him everywhere he went. But in reality, everything turned upside down once we freed him from Count Orlov's magic contract. He actually ended up sending his resignation to the Countess via postcard from the Bahamas. Apparently, Elisa was there to witness her fit of rage, and according to her, it was a sight to behold. As much as I would have loved to see it myself, mostly I'm just happy for Stefan. He seemed like a whole new person ever since. I'm also looking forward to meeting his significant other. After all he's been through, for him to have another chance at love. Something tells me he might have finally found his new happy eternity.
Okay. Noch weiter können wir nicht. Gut, dann gehen wir jetzt einmal hier rein. Erkunde die Stadt abgeschlossen. Hier sind, glaube ich, eine Menge Grabstätten dazugekommen.
To my relief, Demian was among the many lucky survivors who were rescued from the town hall dungeons. Perhaps even luckier, Demian never ended up on the lower levels of Savelli's underground prison. That left him relatively unscarred, and soon enough he seemed to be back to his old playful self. One thing did seem to change, though. After the events of that night, I certainly noticed him working in the fields much more often. It's hard to find a silver lining to what transpired, but I suppose scaring Demian into a working man may have been one of them.
Wir gehen einmal rundrum.
Marusa didn't want to let down her family, so she never ended up leaving town or pursuing higher education. But that didn't stop her from doing tremendous amounts of good in her community. She kept educating herself and others in her spare time, saved some coin, and pored over law books to devise a better way of life for the peasants. Using her knowledge and connections, she managed to negotiate better hours and lighter workloads, allowing her village to prosper. In turn, the youths had more time for their studies, and, with Marusa's help, many ended up fulfilling her dream of receiving higher education. I knew she was a special one from the start. I couldn't have been more right. Trofim took our last talk seriously. He took his time to think things through, kept away from the bottle. He saved some money, and then one day simply went and resigned from the Countess's service. He wasn't lying about his fisherman skills either. With the seed money I gave him, he managed to start a quite successful fishing stand at the town market. From what I can remember, he ended up living a long and happy life doing something he loved. Should we all be so lucky?
Und überall eine Blume hin.
I only knew Faina for a short time, but somehow the memory of her has never faded. She meant a lot to me. She still does. Rest in peace, dear Faina.
Ruh dich auf der Bank aus. Ich will erstmal gucken. Wer ist das?
I didn't know exactly what to expect when I told Gosha about the bomb.
Ach so.
But she sure came through that fateful night. As I learned later, Yvonne devised a backup plan in case the bomb didn't end up being delivered. But what he didn't plan was on his right-hand woman deactivating the explosive before handing it over to him. When the townsfolk saw what happened and understood the scale of the tragedy that was barely avoided, Yvonne was swiftly thrown into jail. I didn't hear whether he was ever pardoned, but I do know for certain that he never returned to politics.
Ach, kriegt auch eine Blume. Okay.
Oleg and I never became close, but at least till I left town he kept running the shop and seemed to be doing fine. Although I'm sure he would have preferred to keep his hand. I always felt a sense of gratitude in him for sparing him. In retrospect, I think I'm glad I didn't end up taking a life for an old grudge, albeit a very heavy one. I wonder if the Rusalka is still out there somewhere. Did she ever forgive him? Till this day, I don't know exactly what happened to Petya. First, he was killed by a vampire, then his soul moved into a doll, then the doll died? Sometimes I'm not even sure if I'm remembering it right. It all seems like a strange dream when you think about it. Regardless, I still feel like maybe there was more I could have done for him back then. I'm sorry that your life didn't turn out like you hoped, Petya. Rest in peace. Gosha proved herself a true hero by disarming the bomb prior to the attack on Town Hall. Many assumed that after Yvonne, their golden-throated leader, went to prison, the local revolutionary cause would fall apart. But, yet again, brave Gosha came to the rescue. She assembled what was left of the group and pivoted towards peaceful change. Ultimately, she turned it into a legitimate political party that existed for decades after her eventual passing. I still remember the years I spent in Gosha's organization fondly. She was selfless and passionate and cared deeply for each of her fellow citizens. During the years she led the movement, she helped steer the country away from many a tragedy, although, of course, plenty couldn't be avoided.
Ich will keine Vampirkräfte nutzen.
Ah, sweet Roman. He ended up traveling around the world at least 3 times in his lifetime. He managed to connect with all kinds of people and hear the legends of their homes and ancestors. It wasn't just for his pleasure either. He published several tomes on world folklore, which were translated to dozens of languages. He loved the people around him, and he shared that love in his favorite way, through his books and stories.
Das müsste es jetzt gewesen sein. Dann ruhen wir uns aus. Bereit zum Aufbruch. Ja.
I did what I came for. I suppose it's time to go home.
So, kümmere dich um die Gräber.
Oh!
Eine Schlange.
Huh. Strange. Snakes usually brumate over the winter. Their metabolism slows down, they stop eating, and hide out underground till it's warmer. Nobody must have come here for ages. I bet I scared it out of its hiding spot. Slithering back to the shadows. How the mighty have fallen.
Ich bewege mich wieder hier nicht.
Oof. The church sure has seen better days. What does the sign say?
Sieh dir das Schild an der Kirchentür an. Das war der einzige Ort, wo wir nie reingekommen sind. Betreten verboten. Dieses Gebäude wurde aufgrund eines Schlangenbefalls als gefährlich eingestuft und wird hiermit für verlassen erklärt. Der Abriss des Gebäudes und der anschließende Bau eines öffentlichen Schwimmbads ist für dieses Frühjahr geplant. Ministerium für Gesundheit.
Condemned? Wait a minute. So, it's not technically a church anymore, and I don't need an invitation. Does that mean I can enter it?
Und jetzt können wir im Epilog in die Kirche.
Wow. It's been over a century since I've been inside a church. I'd forgotten how it looks, what it smells like. I'd forgotten how much I missed it. How much I wanted to come in sometimes when I was scared and lost.
Oh.
Oh, damn it.
Lies das Medaillon aus deinem Inventar entfernt. Drücke linke Maustaste, um das Medaillon zu öffnen.
The Morozov family. Minus me, of course. I remember how, even before I was allowed to touch matches, in church, Mother would let me light candles for people we knew. I loved doing it, partly because of the excitement of the dangerous forbidden flame, but it was also more than that. Even before I knew what it meant, it felt important. Why don't I light some candles now? I may not get another chance.
Zünde Kerzen für deine Familie an. Ich will erst mal kurz hier gucken. Da ist nichts. Alte Kirchenkerzen. Und wo kann ich die jetzt anzünden? Ah, hier, okay.
There.
Eltern.
People tend to only say good things about the dead, but we all knew Father was far from perfect. Slowly but surely, drinking turned him from a kind and loving person into a monster. And I know more than most what it means to be one. But some fairy tales do have a happy ending. He managed to quit drinking soon after that fateful summer. I couldn't have been more proud of him. I might be giving us too much credit, but I feel like Kolya and I might have had something to do with it. Mom stuck with him through the rough months. Uncle Mitko helped out with money before they got back on their feet, and from what I gathered, they both ended up rather happy. So glad I managed to get this new picture of them. Of course, according to higher society laws, we're never supposed to get in touch with family, but Kolya and I bent the rules just a little. We got into some trouble, of course, but that's a whole other story. Rest in peace, dear mother and father. It's not easy being an older sister, but being a younger brother must have also had its challenges. Kolya adjusted surprisingly well, all things considered, and he somehow managed to keep his humanity. He tried not to show it, but back when I told him what I saw on the lower floors of the underground prison, I could tell he was truly shaken. I always felt strange about that bribe, but I feel that in some way it helped to save his sanity. For decades now, he's been working with organizations helping the poor and those with addiction. I'm proud of you. This one is for you, dear brother. Funny thing, for over a century I've lived so many lives. Different names, cities, friends, and enemies. I've seen more people live and die than one can count, or care to remember. But even after all this time, I still think about my family. They never faded away. I could have done things differently, and every day I have to live with my choices and my mistakes. Some of them are heavy and bury themselves deep in my gut. From what I hear, every vampire receives a keepsake like that sooner or later. Maybe that's the true payment for eternal life. Or maybe it's a part of any life, really. I don't know if they ever fully go away. If I'm honest, I don't think so. But they remind me to do things differently, to be better. And when I do, sometimes I feel human again. Last candle left. I think I know what I'll light it for.
Ja, ich bin schon wieder etwas nah am Wasser gebaut. Also ich muss sagen, das, was sie gesagt hat, stimmt. Da muss ich an meine Oma denken. Ich bin jetzt 45 Jahre alt. Meine Oma, also mütterlicherseits, ist gestorben, da war ich 12 Jahre alt. Und trotzdem muss ich immer wieder zwischendurch an die schöne Zeit mit ihr denken. Und auch mit meinen anderen Großeltern. Mein Opa väterlicherseits und meine Oma väterlicherseits, die sind, jetzt muss ich überlegen, vor 11 Jahren gestorben. Ne, vor 10 Jahren und vor 11 Jahren. Und mein Opa mütterlicherseits ist vor ungefähr 20 Jahren verstorben. Und trotzdem muss ich immer wieder an alle 4 denken, was für Menschen sie waren und was sie mir alles beigebracht haben. Und ja, die Familie muss man, oder an die Familie denkt man eigentlich immer, wenn man einen guten Kontakt zu ihr hatte. Gut, dann zünden wir die letzte Kerze für die Hoffnung an.
I've seen people in this country go through so much suffering. Wars, revolutions, tyranny, famine. So much has happened, and yet so little has changed. Some people say this country is cursed, hopeless. I don't know if I believe that. I've seen fates crushed by a short sentence. I've seen lives saved by a simple embrace. No matter what they say, a person's choice can make a difference, so you might as well do your best. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll all make enough of the good ones. And for now, there is hope. Demons may be hereditary, but we are in charge of them.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year!
Hoffnung, schließe Kapitel 8 ab. Cabernet. Tolle Story. Also, ich muss sagen, das Spiel, das hat mich wirklich mitgerissen. Ich habe das jetzt insgesamt, jetzt muss ich überlegen, 3 oder 4 Aufnahmesessions habe ich das durchgespielt. Kann ich irgendwie die Musik... Ich lasse es mal, bevor ich da den Abspann wegmache. Kleinen Moment, ich mach mal hier ein bisschen leiser. So. Und das Spiel hat mich gefesselt. Ich konnte einen Monat nicht spielen. Ich hatte absolut keine Zeit irgendwie. Und ja, trotzdem das Spiel mit den ganzen Entscheidungen, ob man menschlich bleiben will oder ob man dem Bösen verfallen will. Man hat so viele Möglichkeiten auszusuchen. Mich hat es auch betrübt, dass das mit Roman zum Beispiel nicht geklappt hat, weil wir ihn vorher gebissen hatten, dadurch Beziehungen verloren hatten und dadurch eine Beziehung mit ihm nicht möglich war. Jetzt im Nachhinein finde ich sehr schade, dass ich nicht alle Nebenaufgaben gemacht habe. Heißt die vom Doktor, dass wir die Musikstunde nicht noch nehmen konnten, dass wir Petja, weil das war ja noch offen gewesen, dass wir das nicht fertig gemacht haben. Ich bereue es, dass wir zum Beispiel die Katze nicht in Vampir verwandelt haben. Vielleicht wäre sie sonst immer noch bei uns. Ich habe keine Ahnung. Ich weiß auch nicht, was passiert wäre, wenn wir hier Nihilismus auf 100 gebracht hätten und dann den Doktor, den Doktor, und dann dem Bürgermeister hätten sagen können, okay, wir sind dabei, wir unterstützen das. Ich muss dieses Spiel unbedingt nochmal spielen. Und ja, wir haben kein einziges Tier getötet, wir haben keinen Menschen getötet, wir haben haben wir 3-mal gebissen. Wir haben Anastasia gebissen, wir haben Roman gebissen. Und ja, den Bruder zähle ich nicht, weil wir ihn dadurch gerettet haben. Wir haben 2-mal gebissen und dann noch die eine Frau in der Hütte mit dem zu viel Eisen im Körper. Aber das war halt auch medizinisch. Wir haben so gesehen nur 2 Personen gebissen. Und ja, auch mit Trohim. Was wäre gewesen, hätten wir genug Geld in der Tasche gehabt? Was wäre gewesen, hätten wir genug Nihilismus und hätten ihn dann verwandeln können? Also dieses Spiel mit eins der besten Spiele, die ich in letzter Zeit gespielt habe. Und ich werde es auf jeden Fall nochmal privat spielen. Werde verschiedene andere Sachen ausprobieren. Ich weiß jetzt, wo was kommen kann. Heißt, ich werde verschiedene andere Sachen ausprobieren mit zum Beispiel jetzt Nihilismus, mit Roman, dass wir ihn nicht beißen und genug Beziehungen haben, dass wir zum Beispiel die Aufträge für Kirill machen. Also das möchte ich alles noch ausprobieren. Und wenn euch mein Let's Play gefallen hat, dann kann ich euch nur raten, holt euch selbst das Spiel und spielt selbst. Es sind so viele Auswahlmöglichkeiten. Es hat einen sehr hohen Wiederspielwert. Und es ist mit so viel Liebe gemacht, dass man das Ganze unterstützen muss. Ja, und dann sage ich vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen und ich hoffe, wir sehen uns in einem anderen Let's Play wieder.